Good morning, good morning. Sunday, the 2nd, I think it is, something like that. It's the first week of February. But I want to share a story with you. What happened to me this morning? It just touched my heart. I mean, amazing. But I was sitting at the public shopping center, had my signs on in the truck, and just doing my normal thing with my ministry on Sunday. And so I decided to leave. I said, I'm getting hungry. I think I'm going to go and get something to eat up at Bob Evans. So I took off, went up the road to Bob Evans, and as I was almost there, I was sitting at a light, and there's this older couple in an SUV sitting next to me. I must have left my lights on, for my ministry on the back window. And she was sort of waving at me, and she was checking out my door and everything, where I have my information and everything for my ministry on my door. And all of a sudden they race up in front of me and pull in front of me, and then they end up going into Bob Evans, the same place I was going. But so I pull into Bob Evans, and right as I was getting out of the truck, I was, doing things, taking my seatbelt off, just, looking at my email real quick and things. And finally I get out of the truck, and this guy walks up, her husband walks up and hands me a $50 bill. And I'm like, what's this for? He said, this is to help you out with your ministry. I said, oh, thank you very much. I'll sure put it to good use. Appreciate that. So we sat and chatted for a few minutes, and which it's rare, but it does happen. And anyway, I take I'm at a park, so it's pretty busy around the park. Anyway, so I take it and I go inside, and I'm sitting there. And now in Bob Evans, how they have the aisles, for like 4 or 5 booths in the aisles and stuff, and they have chairs on the side. But anyway, I go in there and I sit down. He was sitting like one set of chairs in front of where I was sitting. And right across from him, there was this older lady sitting there. And she had been sitting there. She was drinking a cup of coffee. And, still looking at the menu. Now, as we was sitting there, looking at the menu, the lady comes over and asks her, to take her order. Says, ma'am, what would you like to have? She's like, well, said, how much is this coffee again? And she tells her, and well, how much is this English muffin? And she looks in and tells her what it is, and she's like, why? Says, well, I just want to make sure I have enough money for it. Says, I sure would like one of those Western omelets, actually, but I don't have enough money to get that, so I'm going to have to probably just get this here. So she goes on and, takes her order, and Nellie goes back up to the counter. Well, at that time, I get up and I act like I'm going to go wash my hands, which really I was anyway. But, I go and I stop by the counter. I says, what did she say that she really wanted? And she's like, oh, Western omelet. I said, go on and put that in for her. I said, and, get that. She says, well, the lady, she comes. I said, have you ever seen her before? She said, yeah, she comes in about 3 times a week and orders like a piece of pie or something, She must not have a lot of money, but she just tries to get out of the house. I said, well, that's pretty cool. I said, she's probably in her 80s maybe, which I thought was really, was really cool. But I said, well, I'll tell you what kind of pie does she normally get? So it's just a piece of plain old apple pie. I says, well, do you sell the whole pie? So she said, yeah. I said, we're going to order one of those for us to take out too, and I'll pay the bill for you. So I said, get the bill ready, and then I'll go in and pay it as soon as I get done with the restroom. So I go and and pay the bill and use the restroom and come pay the bill and everything. I go back and sit down. So then she comes, takes my order. I went on and ordered too, and we both got our meals. All 3 of us actually, all 3 areas got their meals about the same time. So the man that gave me the $50 bill was sitting there. He was talking to his wife, and I was, apparently he was paying attention as well. But anyway, she asked for her bill first, the old lady did. And so the lady says, all right, well, I'll be right back. So she goes, and all she does is she comes up and she brings her a to-go bag with her apple pie in it. And this was after her shock of getting her breakfast. I mean, she was just floored that, it says, she was sitting there trying to worry herself sick on how to get, how to pay this bill. She thought she had, just misordered it. So all the time she's sitting there, she was laying her money out, and she was counting her quarters on the table, trying to figure out how much she had to do it. And so the lady brings her back this and sets the bag on top of her quarters, of her pie. She says, "Honey, I can't afford this." I says, "And what's the pie?" She says, "Well, let's just say an angel already took care of it for you, and your bill's been paid in full." And I sat there and I looked at the expression on her face, and the other gentleman next to her, that helped me out, looked at her as well, and then he looked back at me, and I smiled and sort of nodded with him, and I get up and I go out and I pay my bill, and I'm going on out to the truck. Well, this lady is still sitting at the bench crying. You just barely can even get out the door. So he comes out and he's helping her out the door, actually, by the time I was getting into the truck. And he walks over and he hands me $100 bill. See? $100 bill. Believe that? Check that out, huh? But anyway. So I asked him what that's for. He says, "You're a good servant." He says, "So I'll make sure you have more to keep on doing what you do." He says, for someone that, he says, that's just so freely, you didn't even think twice about helping that little old lady out. No one asked her, no one asked you, but you just reached out and just blessed her anyway, and says, "You know what, it truly changed her that, today." I said, "Well, I hope it did, because, I wanted her to know that there is angels out there that walk in this earth, and we are supposed to look at each other. God tells us, if we know of a brother or sister that's in need, and we have it available to us, to supply those needs." And that's just how I feel. I mean, with kindness, you can't kill. You can't kill anything with kindness. There's just so much negativity out there in this world that brings people down. And I see people and talk to people every day, that is just literally destroyed from the evil that surrounds them, and they're just so beaten down and defeated. And you know what? Sometimes, even if it's your last pennies, and you can reach out and you can bless someone else, and you can help someone else and do something right, it just changes everything. And I think the biggest thing about this lesson is to do it with a glad heart and a loving heart, and to never expect anything in return. And I think that's the key of it all. But so I encourage you today, as you walk in your paths, and you go on with your days and your journeys, even throughout the week or the month, when you can and when you can afford it, and when you have the ability, ask God to put someone in your path that maybe you can help, or you can help them do their mission in life. You never know how that can change, and it always rolls uphill. It always is. I always called it paying it forward. That little movie that came out. How true that was. How you can actually affect and change the world one at a time, just by paying something forward to somebody else. So I know this is a short video, and it's just something that happened to me today, and I just wanted to share that with you, and just feel the blessings on that. Normally I never would say a word about something like that, but you know what, I just feel in today's day and age, it's always good to sometimes be an example. And I mean, I go out every day and do different things, and I'm working with with the people out there that God asked me to work with, and I do this diligently every day. I never say a word about any of it. As you look at my ministries, I never reveal anybody that I help. I always try to keep our movements private. And I could literally have money flowing out the door, hand over fist, if I would show some of this stuff. I mean, my videos online would probably get millions of views, but that's not how I need to do that. You know, I want them to be viewed and to be supported because of who I am and who I represent, not because of some viral video of some, you know, helping somebody else in showing it. I just don't believe that. But hey, God bless all of you. Hope you have a great Sunday. Always remember to walk in faith and walk with God every single day. I know this is probably a little bit abnormal from the kind of videos that you've been seeing lately, but this is also the ministry. This is why I'm here. This is what I do. So I just wanted to share that with you, and hopefully it touches one of your all's hearts as well and encourages you to do the same thing. God bless y'all. Have a great day.